gratitude and recognizing the gifts in your lives, overcoming negative bias with acts of appreciation for those around us is really a big part of feeling content in your own life.
You're listening to the Mindful Mama podcast, episode number 331. Today, we're talking about resolving to give back with Sarah Aadland. Welcome to the Mindful Mama podcast. Here, it's about becoming a less irritable, more joyful parent. At Mindful Mama, we know that you cannot give what you do not have, and when you have calm and peace within, then you can give it to your children. I'm your host, Hunter Clark Fields. I help smart, thoughtful parents stay calm so they can have strong, connected relationships with their children. I've been practicing mindfulness for over 20 years. I'm the creator of Mindful Parenting, and I'm the author of the best-selling book, Raising Good Humans, a mindful guide to breaking the cycle of reactive parenting and raising kind, confident kids. Welcome back to the Mindful Mama podcast, my friend. I am so glad you are here. I'm so excited for you to join this episode. I got so much out of this conversation. But hey, listen, if you have not yet done so, hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you have ever gotten any value from this podcast, do me a favor and go over to Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and review. It helps the podcast grow more. It will take like 30 seconds, and I really greatly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So in just a moment, I am going to be talking to Sarah Aadland. She's the program director for this amazing program called Doing Good Together. And she creates and curates tools to help families and organizations raise kids who care and contribute. So for me, when my kids were little, I really was like, oh, I want to get them in the habit of giving back and doing service projects and things like that. And then I discovered that that's not so easy when you have little kids, because some organizations don't want little kids there, or it's not appropriate or whatever. And so Sarah's organization, Sarah, we talk about how to find projects to do with little kids, how families can volunteer together, how we can focus on family service and create big-hearted, generous kids, right? We can deepen family conversations, inspire reflection, unleash your child's inner philosopher. And we're going to talk about real practical ways that you can bring service into your life. And this is such an incredible thing to do, because it gives to the world, it gives to you, it gives to your kids, it gives you perspective. I mean, it's amazing. So I am so excited about this, because this is really a wonderful, crucial key for us to remember that we are interconnected, that we are, right? Like, I feel like we suffer from a crisis of like way too much individualism in this country, and we're not helping each other, and we're not understanding each other. And doing family service together is a way to just remember to enact that truth all the time, that we are interconnected and what we do matters, and that we can help each other. It's so powerful. So join me at the table as I talk to Sarah Aadland. I'm excited to talk to you because, like the new year rolling around. And one of the things that I was like, when my kids were little, I was like, I want us to like volunteer together. Like, I had images of us like serving food at soup kitchen together for Thanksgiving. And we have never served any food at any soup kitchens together. We have done some volunteering here and there, but when I had so much enthusiasm for it when they were little, and then it was just hard to find places that even wanted kids to be there, or were appropriate or whatever. And I knew I had to like model this, but then I didn't. I couldn't like to get time away from my kids to like go. It would just be another thing I was doing anyway. It kind of fizzled out for us in a way, and I'm feeling guilt about it, because I had like great, I give them money to like give away at each holiday, and that feels good, but like I don't know. Anyway, so you were able to take this same impulse to do good and volunteer with your kids, but you did something really big with this, right? Like, so maybe you can take us back to the beginning, or maybe you can alleviate my guilt, or maybe I'll just feel more guilty at the end of this.
You captured it. That is exactly how most parents feel about volunteering. And that is exactly why Doing Good Together exists, because we all when our kids are really little, most places don't want volunteers that are that little. So we think when they're older, and then they're older and they're into soccer and music and everything else. And we think, I don't have any time. And then we feel guilty. And then we kind of shut the whole thing in a box and put it in the other room. So that is what we want to help parents not do. Because, well, for lots of reasons, family volunteering is a joyful, wonderful thing to do. But we all, as parents, want to raise kind kids. And this is one of those keys that unlocks your child's sense of being a compassionate person. And it's not, put the guilt away, because it's never too late. You can start now. You can start when your children are babies. You can start wherever you are, whenever it is. The trick is just to take that first step. And also change your thinking a little bit about the soup kitchen idea is great. But even if you do volunteer at a soup kitchen, it's like a one-time thing, or maybe once a year. It's a lot of life that happens in between volunteer gigs. So we at Doing Good Together like to talk about a kindness practice, an everyday lifestyle of giving and living generously that can begin anytime.
I like that. I like all the things you're saying. This is a perfect. This is part of like our resolution series, because I can make a new resolution. So I will at some point ask you all my selfish questions about how do I do this. Then how do I get my 11-year-old and 14-year-old into this? But we're gonna put a pause on that. And I want to ask you about how you got into tell us about Doing Good Together, and how did you get started with it, because I know there's got to be a great story behind this.
Yeah, well, I've been with Doing Good Together for 15 years, and we've been around for just a couple years longer than that. We were founded for exactly the reasons you pointed out. Parents want to volunteer with their kids. They want to do it in a way that doesn't need a babysitter, so they could go volunteer or take time away from precious family time. But it's hard to find those opportunities. So our founder, Jenny Friedman, wrote the book on family volunteering. Literally, the book's called The Busy Family's Guide to Family Volunteering. And our organization was born out of that, with these listings. We create family volunteer listings, connecting families with nonprofits who are looking for family volunteers. And we also help nonprofits design family volunteer programs so they can welcome kids of all ages into their organizations. So that's one component of what we do. And that was the early days. When I found Doing It Together, that was the most of what we did. My
Did you have kids
story.
then? I was gonna
Yeah, so I started when my oldest daughter, who is now 16, she was just 4 years old, and her sister was in the high chair doing finger paints and just making a mess. We were in the kitchen crafting and doing random stuff, and I was listening to the public radio, because I do that a lot. And it was before podcasting became huge, actually. So I was just listening to regular radio. And the news of the Haitian earthquake from many years ago came on, and it was devastating to hear with the child. I would normally turn off the scary news before she heard it, but it happened. It was just a breaking news alert, and the estimates were 200,000 people suddenly lost their homes, maybe lost their lives. Very scary and sad. And I, at the time, hadn't done much volunteering and hadn't. I was just treading water, keeping my head above water with two young kids, right, and a job. My daughter looked at me and took my face in her hands and said, "Mom, how are we going to help these people?" And it was this sweet instinct, right? And kids everywhere have this instinct. What are we going to do to help? And right then, I kind of set out on a mission to make sure that she holds on to that "how can I help" attitude, and doesn't get like the rest of us. Like I had gotten cynical, thinking, well, everything is going haywire. My activity's a drop in the bucket. And instead help her develop that habit of service while she was still small and ready to tackle the world, so that when she grows up and sees how big and challenging the world's problems are, she has that habit, that instinct to do her part, even if it seems momentous. And I'm happy to say she's at 16 right now, volunteering at a food pantry this afternoon while she's off school. So it seems to stick.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. I love that. And yeah, that's what I wanted too, right? Like that's what we want. Like we want to be able to say, you have efficacy in the world, you make a difference, right? Because we
Yeah.
know those small things do make a difference, but you're right, like when we get overwhelmed with all the things to do, all the things in our own lives, etc., then this becomes this just like, oh God, it just is like a can that gets kicked down
Yeah.
forever, right? Yeah,
Absolutely.
especially if you can't do it with kids. So you found then doing good together. So finish the story. I want to hear what
Yeah.
happens. I'm
Well,
on the edge of my seat.
serendipitously, Doing Good Together was in the newspaper. It's the giving season. It was the giving season at that time, and we get featured a lot because everyone has that sense that, oh, I'm going to be generous in November. And now I spend my time. I connected with Jenny Friedman. It was very much the mission spoke to my heart in the same way it spoke to hers when she founded it. And I started writing their blog and developed the whole program called Big Hearted Families that is designed to fill those in between moments. So if you start your calendar year thinking, I want to volunteer a couple times this year, well, what are we going to do in between there? What are the routines and rituals and traditions we can build into our everyday family lives that are compassion building, that remind kids and empower our whole families to make a difference in our communities, in a way that's meaningful, in a way that gives us purpose, so that even when our kids have bad days in middle school, they have something purposeful at home they're working on. Yeah, so that's the Big Hearted Families program that I work on, is all about that purpose-filled parenting lifestyle, that helps build connections between families and communities.
All right, awesome. And I want to I want to talk to that, but I think it's important for us to kind of get to the crux of like the volunteering itself. So, if we do want to volunteer with kids, what are like, so you guys have programs in some certain cities and things like that. Can you speak to like if there is a program in one a city near us, or if there isn't, what we can
Yeah,
do?
we are growing the cities based on volunteers that want to help us collect these lists. But the beautiful thing about the last couple of years, it's been a lot wrong with the last couple of years, but the beautiful thing is that so many volunteer opportunities are doable from literally wherever you are.
Mm.
So all of our family volunteer listings are localized in a city, except one, our monthly newsletter, and that comes out every month and features usually 10 to 12 volunteer projects that you can do from wherever you are around a subject that we're
Ah,
tackling at the moment. And connecting you with national organizations that are accepting, for example, Color a Smile. Have you heard of this organization?
no.
It's an adorable organization that connects families whose kids love to draw, and frankly, a lot of adults who like to draw, with people who could use some cheer in their lives. So people sign up to receive drawings from Color a Smile, and they'll deliver them to nursing homes all over the country, and children's hospitals, and soldiers serving overseas and their families. So they have
Oh.
a broad range of people they deliver them to, and we've spoken to the executive director over there. They use everything they're given, and they have beautiful testimonials from the people who receive their stuff. So that's such a
Oh.
simple thing you can do from wherever you are, just especially when you have those little artistic kids that just fill out notebooks with drawings. Like put those beautiful drawings to work instead of recycling them in the dark of the night.
Stay tuned for more Mindful Mama podcast right after this break. I am passionate about learning, and I am passionate about allowing my kids to learn as much as they can about whatever they are passionate about. I know that when they are interested, that's when they thrive and they really get inspired by subjects. And that doesn't always happen at school. Sometimes I get the house school, fine, right? So I was trying to figure out what really excites them and what they're really interested in learning, and that's when I discovered OutSchool. OutSchool offers the largest variety of live, interactive online courses for kids pre-K through high school. They are classes that are actually fun. They cover every interest you can think of, and even some you can't, right? Like video game design, cartoon animation, playing an instrument, speaking a language, creative writing. There's so much. They're super affordable, these classes. You can choose the size and the group that works best for your child and give them an experience that is good for them. It even has one-on-one classes. So it's wonderful because it brings together kids and their shared passions and interests. So it helps them fall in love with learning and make real connections and new friends. OutSchool makes it easy for kids to learn what they love, a gift that gives back to them over and over and over for their whole lives. OutSchool has helped my kids get excited about learning, and they can help yours too. To learn more about all OutSchool has to offer and to save $15 off your child's first class, go to outschool.com/hunter and use the code HUNTER. That link is right in the show notes wherever you're listening to this. Just scroll down, you'll see it. That's the code HUNTER at outschool.com, outschool.com/hunter to save $15 off your child's first class. Outschool.com. I love that. I love that. That's amazing. Yeah, my daughter, who's 14, is she's working on becoming an Eagle Scout. So she needs all these volunteer hours. And so one of the things she's been doing is volunteering, doing, yeah, like this remote volunteering where she like identifies, I forget what it is. Like, I think she's like identifying something in the night sky for something, or no, she's identifying like which of these pictures has this bird in it, so that they can help, so that they can, scientists can identify whether this bird is in a certain area or something like that. I think I've broken up for you, but and was a really fascinating volunteer thing that she did from her phone, like identifying this bird for this scientist. And I'm not sure that was like my,
That's really cool.
it's super cool. And especially she's having some mobility issues. So that was like perfect for her. But yeah, what are some other examples of some remote, I love this, like color me a smile one. What are some other remote
Yeah.
ones that people
Oh,
might get excited about?
there are so many cool ones. There's an app you can put on your phone. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on the name. Be My Eyes. It's just called Be My Eyes. It connects blind people with you, so they can call. They call this number. They use the app and connect with whoever picks up on the app, and they'll say things like, "I'm at the grocery store trying to pick out my favorite jar of pickles, but they've moved things around, and I can't tell which one's which." Or, I what was the one a friend of mine just had the other day? Something had rolled under the couch, and so the daughter
Oh,
and mom on the other end of the app helped guide this woman to what she was looking for under her couch. It's really a cool way to actually connect with real humans and make their lives better.
wow, that is so cool. So
That's fun.
I love this. Okay, so we can do remote things. Your daughter's like she's volunteering, and then where you guys are in cities, just to kind of like round out the picture. What are
Yeah.
some of the things that people can do? That, I mean, are they I mean, I know the pandemic. Like, are we doing in person things? Like, what are some of those things?
Yes.
Was more
The
traditional type
the
volunteering
in-person
things look like?
things, yes, the in-person things are back. And whatever city you're in, whether we have listings there or not, my first suggestion for a first step is to kind of assess with your family what your interests are. Because it's nice that my daughter's volunteering on her own, but we always love the things we can do together too. So um, decide where that intersection lies. Do you want to work on hunger? Do you want to work on homelessness? Do you really care about the environment and healing the earth? Whatever your issue or passion is, look for that organization in your city, in your region. Somebody is bound to be working on that issue, and make that connection. Because I can tell you, adopt the food pantry. Make that your mission once a month. Put a box in your kitchen, fill it up, couple things in there every time you go to the grocery store. Keep a coin jar out and collect loose change. And once a month, take your loose change and your extra food to the food pantry and help that way. And that's fantastic. But before you do that, give them a call. What do they need? You'd be surprised. A lot of times the food pantries will tell you really specific things. Like one May, I called just to see what their needs were, and it was about to be summer. they said they had gotten a ton of hot dogs and buns as donations, which was great, but they had no ketchup or mustard. So they said, if you could get your friends and neighbors to donate ketchup and mustard, our folks would be a lot happier. So that's what we did. And it was a fun little, mini donation drive for the food pantry. But those getting to the needs really helps, because kids can smell busy work, and they know when you're doing something just to make them feel good. They want to feel meaningful. So starting with the need and starting with the local organization near you and asking, what can we do, will get you on the path to really purposeful work.
Okay, so you have been doing this with your kids since the little one was on the, in the high chair. What are why does this what impact can you say this has maybe had on your own family, or impact that you've seen having on other families? Like what are the benefits of this?
Yeah, it's pretty profound working with some of the members the way we have for the last 10 or so years that our membership program's been going, watching these kids grow up with this mission to be kind, this concept of, okay, I'm going to start with kindness. I'm a kid that helps and makes a difference. The benefits are pretty direct. You can see that they really will be the kid that raises their hand to step in and help, or will be the kid that comes home noticing something in class and needs to talk about why this was an injustice and why we need to do better and make a difference. And that bears out in the research. If you look at the research on raising kind kids, the kids that volunteer with their families are 40% more likely to volunteer as adults. So serving together really does create the next generation of philanthropists and kind people in the world, which is something we all know we need more of right now. It feels like, well, not feels like, the research bears that out too. Empathy is actually on the decline. There's this long-term study out of the University of Michigan that found that empathy declined, and this is self-reported empathy among college students, but they'd used the same study same survey tool for years, I think 20 years, declined by 40%. So empathy is declining by 40%. And that's, slightly older data. I'm waiting for the new study, should be out this year. So I'm watching for that. But we know empathy is on the decline. We know hate crimes are up, and just division in our communities is rising. So there's a real need for this work. It really does improve children's ability, and frankly, there's no time too late to practice empathy. It improves adults' empathy too when we practice this with our kids. So the time has never been more important. Plus, I got to say, volunteering makes us happier. That's the bit of good research that's out there. Volunteering makes you feel good. It makes it's actually contagious. People in one study, people who saw somebody doing a random act of kindness for somebody were more likely to do something kind in the next couple of hours of their day. So sharing kindness and service in your community actually really does change the culture. It might be just a little bit, but with each effort, your actions are changing the culture a little bit.
All right, so we're helping to cultivate kinder kids, we're making kinder communities, and selfishly it feels good. We're happier. It's like
Yes,
win-win-win situation. And
totally.
and there's benefits for obviously the people on the receiving end of this too.
We call it the ultimate multitasking, because you're making a real actual impact with whatever the work is you're doing. You're sort of, that parental mind of yours is thinking, oh, I'm improving my kid, I'm making them happier, healthier. They tend to have more academic success and stay away from dangerous behaviors when kids volunteer with their families. So our parenting brain is thinking, okay, all of those things are good for my kid. And then the long-term impacts of raising kids who are community minded and will volunteer for generations to come, impart this on to their own kids. So yeah, it's a pretty multi-layered benefits that come with this.
All right, so my heart is like super all into this. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And now I'm going to ask my selfish question about my Well, what if you I've been in a situation where it's been hard to volunteer with little kids and you've gotten out of the habit and now you're all in the like rhythm of your life and that rhythm of your life is not including going and doing a lot of volunteering necessarily and there happened to be maybe 11 and 14. What would you suggest? Because I would really like I mean the Maggie doing the bird app I think is wonderful and great, but I know that in person makes a big difference and I would love to like be doing something with the whole family. So where would you suggest to start? Obviously you said like look at an issue. I mean, but honestly like that feels a little like overwhelming for me in some ways. Like I kind of care about a lot of things and I don't know.
That's true. It does feel like there's a lot of places to put your effort. So picking one and getting started. The thing I often tell parents is give yourself grace on all of this because it will feel very overwhelming if you suddenly feel like you need to be the world changer. The beautiful part about the work we've done with Doing Good Together is that we know there are families all over the country. And in fact, recently we've been working with a group called Global Peace Women. So we now know families all over the world that are doing this work in their communities. So you don't have to cover all the issues. We're all in it together and we are all collectively working as part of a big community of change makers. So I like that to dial down the stress of it.
Thank you.
Um, just to know that whatever you do once doesn't have to be the only way you serve. But I also have an 11 or almost 11, 14 and 16-year-old. So I, as the parent of kids that are a little bit older and less prone to making crafty cards for grandma all the time, service has to be really intentional and you have to get everybody on board. So having family meetings is one thing that I really recommend people make time for. It sounds like it's off topic from family volunteering, but we actually use our family meeting time as part of a kind of compassion building plan. Doing Good Together has a template on its website for family meetings that includes things like, okay, my 3 kids and my husband and I, what chores are going to get done and by who. This is a group effort. We're a team here. And then what way are we going to help out, or who do we know that needs some cheer this week, or is there a local service opportunity that we want to tackle? So those are opportunities for our kids to bring up things like the compassion drive at school and how we can make a bigger impact on that, or if there's something that their extracurricular group might want to do, like does the soccer team want to go and help rake lawns in the fall, or those conversations tend to happen organically when the kids feel like they're involved and can help suggest things. They have lots of ideas and kids love to be treated as the experts on how we should make a difference because they do have lots of opinions about what needs to be better.
Stay tuned for more Mindful Mama podcast right after this break. So this weekend, I canceled our reservation at an amazing restaurant locally that I was super excited to go to because of the COVID situation. Oh, it's like such a bummer, right? But there is a silver lining in this. I can eat some delicious restaurant quality meals that are wonderful, delicious through Green Chef. It's such a savior in this time where we can't get out and have a lot of variety. And really, at every time when you're busy and you, like me, I often don't feel like planning. It's just the whole idea of the shopping and the planning. I love Green Chef. Green Chef is a certified organic meal kit company through California certified organic farmers, and it is the most sustainable meal kit. It offsets 100% of their plastic packaging in every box and 100% of their carbon footprint and emissions. Green Chef makes eating well easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to have someone else decide your more balanced meals that are delicious. Green Chef offers a range of recipes to suit your preferences. I love it because Green Chef makes cooking easy, so you spend less time stressing and more time enjoying delicious home cooked meals. Green Chef's pre made and pre measured sauces, dressings, and spices get you more chef curated flavor in less time. And so it's lovely too because you really avoid lines at the grocery store. It's so convenient. Green Chef has these pre proportioned, easy to follow recipes, they're delivered right to your door. It saves you all this time by taking care of meal planning, grocery shopping, and most of the prep work for you week after week. So you don't have to. And honestly, the meals are so delicious. We've had the Green Chef Italian shrimp with pesto, so delicious. Came with sauteed Brussels sprouts, carrots, and roasted red peppers. And it's hand-picked organic veggies. It's premium proteins and it's delicious. Like there's nothing to argue with there. It's so good. I love it. Go to greenchef.com/hunter130 and use the code HUNTER130 to get $130 off plus free shipping. It's an incredible deal. If you haven't tried a meal kit service yet, this is the one to try. It's certified organic, they're high quality meals, taste so good, completely green. Go to greenchef.com/hunter130. That's hunter numbers 130 and use the code hunter130 to get $130 off. This is a great deal plus free shipping. That's greenchef.com/hunter130. You can find that link right where you're listening to this. Just go to the notes and scroll down. You'll find it. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. So go check that out. greenchef.com/hunter130. And when opportunities are there, like they do them, I mean, I know that like in my very local community, I live in like kind of a funky little artist community in Delaware that has a lot of like community stuff. And there we do a fair every year and everyone, the kids volunteer often and like we'll run a kids game or they do kind of some things like that. And my daughter, who's 11, just is doing this Best Buddies program they do like the Rock Your Socks thing
Oh,
at school, which is like to like autism awareness. And anyway, she's meeting once a month. I think she's doing it because like her friend at school could do it too, and they could do it together, which I is nice. But I'm glad it's this sort of volunteering thing. But okay, so I have a conversation. We're long overdue for a conversation about chores because the dishes issue is like a mess at the moment, not working for me. It's not meeting my needs. But
I'm with you. My dishwasher just broke and I'm still the only one doing the dishes. What
oh
is
no.
going on here? We
Oh
need to
man.
reassess the chore situation at my house too.
Okay, good. I'm glad to know I'm not alone. So, but then if I say like, hey, this year, 2022, like let's think about some ways we can give back. Let's do some volunteering things together. I start the conversation, but then I'm like, "Meh, I don't know where to go, what to do. What if I'm interested? Like, what would you say? Like, say if I'm interested in, like, I know my kids are definitely interested in climate change issues and things like that. I know they would definitely be interested in helping people who are, struggling or, homeless or hungry and things like that. Those are two sort of places, overarching categories I think they would have interest in. Where would I then can, direct continue with this conversation besides kind of getting ideas from them? What could I offer as ideas?
Yeah, well, when you get to the issue of homelessness and just poverty, the
And
simple
we live in North Wilmington, Delaware, and we're really close to Philadelphia. So I know these challenges are really close to home.
Right, right. Well, and again, I would reach out to a local shelter and maybe ask what they need. I know ours are often asking for lunch
Mm.
bags, lunch kits. So I've had sandwich making parties with my kids before. We've
Mm.
invited neighbor kids to join us and, buy a few bags of bread and meat and cheese. And the shelter will tell you what they prefer if they have any restrictions. But usually, make up a ton of ham sandwiches. If you spend an hour on this service project, you can make a ton of sandwiches and then put them in your Ziploc bag, put a heart sticker on them or put a have a nice day sticker on them and tuck them in a paper bag with maybe an apple or whatever else the shelter recommends, because they all do it differently, honestly. But that is something that a lot of homeless shelters need, because they will provide breakfast and dinner, but then they send people back outside during the day. So if they could send them with a healthy lunch, that is a real quality of life improvement. Different cities have collection services for sandwiches or lunch kits kind of going at all times, so you could reach out to your local shelter and see if that's something they need. Blessings
So
bags are really popular to have in the car to hand out too, and kids like making those with just like
blessings
we
bags.
yeah,
Tell
the
me more
internet's
about this.
full
This
of
is awesome.
those.
And I just want to be like super clear about this, because if you've never done this before, we're just gonna
Yeah.
like Google your home city and say, oh, shelters in my home city,
Yeah.
and then you're going to call that number and say, hey, what are you needing? And that's where you
In
start, right?
most places in the United States, you can actually call 211, which
Mm,
will connect you to services in your area, and you can call 211 and ask where the nearest shelter is if you want to keep it super simple.
all
But
right, cool.
on Doing Good Together, if you go to our Doing Good Together homepage, you'll find our projects, and we have them organized by issue. So we have a whole collection of different projects you can do to fight poverty, and we walk you through, what goes in a blessings bag. Socks are great, chapsticks great, hundreds of dollars, not a great place to put that. So we have some guidelines based on what the shelters typically ask for, and even some suggested language for a note to go in there if you wanted to add a note to your blessings bag to hand out because kids, it's heartbreaking when you see people in need while you're out and about, and it's, depending on your comfort level, it's okay to hand people a bag of useful things that they could use.
That's awesome. I mean, I love that idea, because I've in the past been like, here, take this bag of almonds that's in my car, like
Yep.
have a kind bar. And I feel okay about that, like I feel good about that. But a
Mhm.
blessings bag is like a black bag with basically things that someone might need. And so what
Yeah.
are some of the things if people are just want to like have a couple of these in their glove compartment, what?
Yeah, and actually, with all the mad dash holiday sales on, it's a good time to get the like 12 pack of chapstick and the 12 pack of socks.
Mm.
And, they usually recommend some kind bars, granola bars, a bottle of water. A refillable bottle of water would be really nice, because then they just have that. I always tuck in the little note from our website that has, if you need help, here's you call 211 or go to this
Oh,
nearby shelter, because it's not everybody knows what they need to be doing to get help.
oh, mhm.
Um, what else goes in there? A roll of quarters sometimes. There's so many things on our list, depending on seasonally. If it's summer, you want to throw some sunscreen in there.
Why a
Um,
roll of quarters? I mean,
it was
are there any
for
cell phone?
laundry.
Oh, laundry. I was gonna say, are there any payphones left in the world? Um,
That I don't think so, but yeah, that was for laundry, I think. I haven't been on
okay.
that page in a while of our site, but yeah, there's
Huh.
what was the other one for fight poverty? Oh, well, you can also do like as a family do a fundraiser at home. One thing that we've done, and this may be for more like your 11-year-old than your 14-year-old, but we have a template on our website that's a fight hunger calendar. And what you do is set an empty place at your table, an empty bowl, to sort of signify that you're going to try to fill tummies this year. And every day on the calendar, you count something in your home. So it gives your child a chance to really actually notice the abundance in your own home. Count how many pairs of shoes they've got. Count the
Huh.
things on the third shelf of your pantry. Put that many quarters or dollars. You guys can decide how you want to do your fundraiser, but put that in the bowl to sort of signify the abundance in your home, and then you're donating that to the food pantry or the shelter at the end of
Oh.
the month. That's something we've done in November and in February. We've done as a family, and it really does kind of blow their mind when they start looking at, oh yeah, we do. We kind of maybe don't need them to buy another whatever it is XYZ. Let's instead donate that to the shelter collection, because we have enough. We can be comfortable having enough.
I love this so much, because does point to like it reminds them, I mean, kids have the same negativity bias in their brain that
Yes.
we have. So they tend to, they can tend towards like kvetching and criticism and poor me and all that stuff that we all do, right? And so these practices of giving to others and kind of making it a process are continual reminders of, oh, I had, look at how much I have, of that really point to gratitude and appreciation for what we do have too, which is incredible.
Right, exactly. And then I really like to remind families that the service component of what you do is one really, obviously it's the first piece, it's the important piece. Um, but reflection and reflecting about, why is this disparity happening? Why, if especially with older kids, what is going on with the issue of homelessness? Let's dig into this as a family a little bit. Maybe we could read some books together on this. Maybe there's a documentary we could read that uncovers kind of the systemic problems in place that are creating this homelessness issue in our community, and then what more can we do about that? We have I was going to show you, we have on our site several of these advocacy pages. This one's for the environment, but they walk families through, kind of beginner's guide to advocacy. So you think through what you will do to fight poverty or to stop homelessness. Our family is filling blessings bags and supporting homeless people with this in this way. But dear representative, while we are doing this, can you help change the problem and fix the underlying problem of poverty and homelessness in our community? It tends to be a pretty powerful way to reach out to legislators because kids' voices are being elevated, and they know families in their district are caring about these concerns.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And kids think, oh, whatever. But I mean, the whole idea that the adults will listen more to your voice is
Yes,
true, and probably very, very effective. Okay, so I sit
it
down, I
is
have my
true.
family meeting. I say, here are some things we can do. What's a beginner? What's a beginner's schedule? I don't want to get like so ambitious that we're like, we're gonna do so much, and then we like peter out. What's a beginner schedule for volunteering that is reasonable and that's like a good start?
I always feel like a good start would be to find one in-person volunteer effort that your family is sort of excited about. What
Mm.
gets you throw out a few different options, some of them fizzle out and some of them get an eye roll. And where's the one that like, oh yeah, I would be interested in participating in that kind of service project. Um, do that first. Get one thing on your calendar so that you feel good about that. And
Mm.
when that one thing is done, look for the next thing to put on your calendar. And maybe for your family's schedule, this is a quarterly thing. Maybe it's weekly, whatever feels comfortable for your family's schedule. Just get that one thing on the calendar and then make a plan kind of around that. So if your one thing is, you know what, Saturday night, we're going to make blessings bags together and we're going to watch a family movie and that's going to be our family date night. um, Maybe gearing up to that, you either find a podcast or a book or something that you can all listen to around the same idea, the same issue, so you can have a sort of thoughtful conversation around the issue that you're learning more about. Do that one time, and I think you'll feel so rewarded by it that you will schedule the next one pretty quickly.
And as you're speaking about this, I was thinking about trying to like kind of really practically implement it. And for me, I think would be helpful if it wasn't just my family, but if we could invite,
Yes.
like, say, one other family, then we have then we all get together and make sandwiches, right?
Yeah.
And then there's this like kind of like built-in accountability and fun element that it just
It's a
multiplies the whole
celebration,
thing.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
cool.
love that. That's when we did our sandwich party, it was with our neighbors, and it was very joyful and very fun, and, we did the service component, and then we hung out for a while. We've done that in the summer. I'll have the kids gather a group of friends, and we'll do a couple service projects with their friends in the summer, and that tends to be, you're right, it's that accountability, it's the joyful part of coming together as community to solve a problem. Um, and then it gives everybody something to talk about too. They refer back to some of the different service projects we've done with friends before, and reference that when they come up with new plans for service.
Stay tuned for more Mindful Mama podcast right after this break. I love my smile, What I don't love is all the toxic ingredients in most dental care products, and I don't love things that kill all my good bacteria. I know how important good bacteria is for our health, especially when my husband got all his bacteria wiped out from some IV antibiotics and the ways he's suffered since then. So I know how important it is to take care of our good bacteria, and I want to take care of my smile. So, how do those things work together? I want the best for my oral health. I want products that are made with natural ingredients that help my smile and don't harm it. And that's why I use Lumino. Lumino makes toothpaste, mouthwash, and whitening products that actually help your oral health instead of hurting it by killing all the bacteria in your mouth that are actually good for you. They use purposeful and uncompromising ingredients like sea salt, aloe, and coconut oils to brighten your smile. And everything they make is certified non toxic, which is really incredibly rare in oral care products. You won't find harsh bleaches, artificial dyes, or alcohol in any of Lumino's products. Everything they make is dentist formulated, backed by over 50 studies, and proven to protect the good bacteria in your smile, proven to protect your so essential microbiome. Lumino whitening strips, they're super effective and they're perfect for sensitive teeth. It only takes 30 minutes to apply, and you'll see results in 7 days. I really want my teeth to look good, but more importantly, I want my whole oral gut health and microbiome to be healthy because I know how important that is. And I want them both, right? Like, I want to have great looking teeth and great oral health. So I trust Lumino. I love how my smile feels and looks, and I know that you'll love Lumino as much as I do. You can get 15% off your order by going to getlumino.com/hunter and use the code hunter. That's G-E-T, Lumino, LUMINEUX.com/hunter. There's a link for that right wherever you're listening to this podcast. Just go to, you'll see a thing for notes, scroll down, you'll see getlumino.com/hunter. Use the code hunter. You're going to save 15%. That's getlumino.com/hunter. All these ideas are sort of so familiar to you, but like to me, they're new, and I'm really excited about them. And I think just sharing all these different examples really sparks a lot in my mind about how we could do this. But you also talk about kind of you have a lot of stuff about like kind of creating kindness. All this are like things that practices and things for gratitude and kindness that can be practiced in between these projects. Can you tell me a little bit about, and this is obviously this was your brainchild, this is what you brought to this
Yeah.
to the organization, so tell me about that.
Yeah, well, just like we were talking about a moment ago, gratitude and recognizing the gifts in your lives, overcoming negative bias with acts of appreciation for those around us is really a big part of feeling content in your own life and a big part of feeling like a big hearted change maker in the world. So I encourage that a lot with the families we work with. We even have like a little award template so kids can make their own, like, You're My Hero award or Best Teacher in the World award, whatever they name it. Sometimes they get very silly with them, and deliver awards to people they appreciate. Um, I also really encourage noticing kindness. So that, like you said before, your kids sound like they're involved in lots of different service projects in their community, which is awesome. And it's easy when they come from school or it's because they went with a friend to kind of just let it be part of the backdrop of your lives. But noticing the kindness that happens organically in our lives, the way our community supports each other, the way others help us when when we're sick and can't make carpool work and someone else steps in, noticing those acts of kindness help kids see the world in a better light, and help kids just understand that kindness and community is something that we live every day. It's not a one-time activity on the calendar. It's how we live our lives. So
Hmm.
just that recognition goes a long way.
Hmm. I love that. I mean, would you recommend, we're going to be playing this episode after the new year, but I mean, would you recommend kind of getting families involved, like seeing if, say your parents or in-laws, your brother and sister and their family, like would they be open to putting a setting a bowl at an empty place at the table and just kind of putting that there for a gathering that you might have or something like that? Or is that too much of a downer? I don't
No,
know.
I love that idea. I love that idea, and I love when we call ourselves a family focused organization, we are defining family in every iteration that can be.
Mhm.
Anytime you can pull in all the generations and multiple family members, I think the impact only grows on our kids as they see that this really is a whole family priority. We find that grandparents love to they tend to have a little more time and they love to participate in service projects with their grandkids because it is, yeah, like I mentioned before, it's that chance to pass on your values, to talk about, it gives you this entry point to talk about things you might not otherwise talk about with your grandparents. So that is really a wonderful idea. And especially around the holidays, finding different opportunities to add. Um, we talk about traditions a lot. So whatever your family traditions are at every holiday throughout the calendar year, find one service project that you can add as a component to that holiday. Um, Even something very simple, adding a card making station. uh, we we usually do this in mid-January. We'll have a card making station in our house through all of January for Valentine's Day. And it seems a little early, but that way we can get them all delivered in time for Valentine's Day. But we have whoever comes in our house, grandparents, friends, loved ones, everyone makes a Valentine's card to add to the pile, and then we deliver them to a local nursing home. And
Mm.
it's a wonderful, especially with teenage girls, it's a wonderful way to flip Valentine's Day into just a living generously holiday and not quite so much romantic fabricated emotions holiday.
Yeah, yeah, that's so cool. I love that. Valentine's for nursing homes. What a cool idea. So okay, then now I don't want to neglect the parents of little kids. What about little kids? Like, do
Yes.
they want to do things in person? Maybe I'm sure they'd love to like color and send their drawings all around the world, but what are other ideas that parents with little kids can do in person or in their family or whatever?
One of my very favorite service moments when I was my son was just 5 months old, I think. And three little teeny kids, and I was kind of overwhelmed, but I wanted to do something kind over Valentine's Day that year. And so my son and I went to a memory care unit. I called the local nursing homes and just asked if a baby visit would be welcome as a service project. Turns out they love babies, and it brought back
Hmm.
memories of their own babies in this beautiful moment of passing my smiley, 5 months old, they're all cute cheeks and smiles, and
Mm.
he grinned at every lovely old lady that held him that day, and it was just the most warm, wonderful moment. And he doesn't remember it, but that definitely fed my mama heart and my instinct to keep sharing service and kindness however I could. So whatever age your kid is, there's opportunities out there. I know one family that volunteers to read every Saturday morning at a local nursing home, and they just go to the community area where everyone's having coffee, and the kids are right at that age where they're learning to read on their own. So they read picture books out loud to the folks at the nursing home who find them just delightful. They're delighted by the kids. They're helping them learn to read. So really, in that situation, whenever you're connecting with people like that, it's really hard to see who's the helper and who's being helped, because that bond is really loving, and only grows the more consistent you are with that. And then that same family, when their grandparents had a pretty scary health incident, those kids, because they'd been used to seeing older folks, were the only kids in the family that weren't afraid to go up to grandpa and give him hugs and help him through his when he had
Mm.
tubes and things at the hospital. They weren't scared because they'd been around older folks and they weren't worried about all weird medical devices. They were comfortable. So that was a unforeseen gift of their service to their family.
Mm. This must be like I don't know, but this working with doing good together must be a very fulfilling work for you to do, I imagine, as you're facilitating all this stuff, like you're getting all that good feeling all back at you too.
Yeah, that sums it up pretty well, actually. That is one of the other habits I like to recommend to families. Elevate the good stories. We're bombarded by so many
Mm.
dark things and headlines. But I tell my kids all the time, and I elevate the stories all the time. There is really good, beautiful work being done out there, and there are people doing their best to solve really complicated problems, and it makes a difference. It is making a difference, and we are moving forward. And yeah, elevating the uplifting pieces of our world only makes us all feel better and
Mm.
keeps us hopeful heading into this new year. Hopeful that we are part of a community of givers, and if we each do our part and each take a step, we can nudge this whole world into a better place, I think.
You're making me more hopeful. So, just to recap, it doesn't matter. We can always begin anew, right? We can always begin again with our volunteering. We can have these conversations. I mean, I envision the conversation I have with my girls going like something like, this is important. This matters to me. I'd love to have you guys involved in this for us to give back. What is important to you? And having that conversation. Um, then look around for things in your local area and in doing good together. There's all, if you're lucky enough to be in one of the cities where they are gathering those activities, you can check out there. Got to come to Philadelphia soon. I think that's your next step.
Yeah. Absolutely. And don't forget our pickup project. Our Big Heart of Families collection has, dozens and dozens of project ideas that are very
Mm.
detailed. That'll give you
Where's
instructions. Doinggoodtogether.org. If you
uh-huh.
just go to our homepage, you'll connect with our projects. But our
Oh,
our, our project section has um, basically like a little recipe for each active service that you can do, and it has the instructions and reflection questions to ask your kid to help them think bigger about that. And we didn't get into the books, but we have
oh yeah,
dozens
you
and
guys have
dozens and
book
dozens of
lists.
book lists, um,
Ah,
with the idea that even on the busy weeks, we're still reading with our kids. And my 10-year-old just told me the other day, "Mom, don't ever stop reading picture books. Picture books are sometimes better than the chapter books." Like, yeah. So
so
when we're
true.
revisiting those picture books is worthwhile.
I miss reading picture books. They don't want me to read
I
picture books anymore. And I'm just like, oh, I want someone to read some picture books too, because it was so fun. I miss like singing it to bed at night in picture books. So if you, dear listener, if
I
you are in
know.
the singing your kid to sleep at night in picture book phase, just know that, just,
Oh,
if you
revel in
can,
it. Absolutely.
revel in it. Yes, yes,
Absolutely.
yes. So book lists on your site too. And that's such a great resource. I love like resources that can, support your values and just really
Mhm.
that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And with books, I find I just get dozens of them from the library once a week and put them out. And you'd be surprised at I'm always surprised at what they gravitate to. I don't force books on my kids, but when I get, several different titles to check out and lay them out on the coffee table, I've caught my teenagers reading the picture books. It's kind of funny because they don't want to be caught. They definitely don't want to be read too, but some of these topics that they're covering in a picture book way are good for even adults to read. So
Totally. More ideas. Sarah, this has been so wonderful to talk to you. You're leaving me very hopeful in what happens to be a very full day for me, and this has been like a real joy to chat and to talk about this. And I'm on fire now for talking to my family about volunteering. I'll probably have to like tone it down a little so I don't like overwhelm them.
well, we'll have to reconnect. I want to hear how it goes for you because your concerns and your thoughts about this are exactly what every parent is feeling about family volunteering. And I can't recommend it highly enough as a way to spend meaningful, fun family time. Don't forget to reward yourselves after the service project with dinner out or ice cream or whatever the celebration is, but make it a really complete
Mm.
family time moment, and you won't regret it. It'll be something you'll always remember.
Yes, yes. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you for talking and sharing your time and sharing your talent with all these amazing ideas for all of us. It's much appreciated, and I know it's going to have ripple effects.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for having me on.
Okay, so update, now that you've listened to this amazing episode, I don't know if you love what Sarah Aadland has to say. Update, I've called the Sunday Breakfast Mission in Wilmington, Delaware, and I found out that yes, they would love to have sandwiches any day, anytime they want sandwiches, and we can make any kind of sandwiches we want. So we are in the process of planning a sandwich making session. Right now, it's like the midst of so much COVID everywhere. So we're having trouble like doing it in person. So we're going to wait a little bit. So we don't want to make sandwiches out in our carport in the cold. It's really cold out, but it's in process and I'm so excited about it. So I'm wondering, are you inspired by this episode? Have you gotten something out of this? I would really love to know. And if you have, do me a favor, take a screenshot and share it on your Instagram stories. Tag me at Mindful Mama Mentor and let me know what your takeaways are. Or like take a screenshot of your projects and tag me. That would be amazing. I would love to see that at Mindful Mama Mentor. And remember, if you have not done so yet, subscribe, leave a review. If you've gotten value from this podcast, go over and leave a review. It just takes a minute and it really, really makes such a huge impact on helping others hear the podcast. So please go do that. And hey, listen, I just want to offer that, if you are too overwhelmed to do family service projects, that's okay. It's okay to be in that season of your life. And I hope that this episode has brought you some inspiration for when you have the ability to and the bandwidth to take it further, take it outside the family. It gives back to the world. It shows our kids that we're interconnected. It helps us remember that enact kindness, right? It's an experience. It gives to the world. It gives to us. It gives us perspectives. It's so, so powerful, and appreciation for the whatever prosperity and safety and health we have in our own life. So good to do. So I'll be doing it with you. Let me know. And I'd love to hear what's happening for you. Hey, thank you so much for listening. I am wishing you peace. I'm wishing you health and wealth and ease this week. And I'm wishing you just some moments of true connection, of rest and true connection with your family and those you love. And I will be back to talk to you next week. We have another awesome episode in the Resolve series. We're going to be talking about resolving to eat nutritiously with Dr. Organic Mommy Natasha Beck. So make sure you listen to that episode. And thank you. Wishing you a great week, my friend. Namaste.
Say definitely do it. It's really helpful. It will change your relationship with your kids for the better. It will help you communicate better. And I'd say communicate better as a person, as a wife, as a spouse. It's been really a positive influence in our lives. So definitely do it.
I'd say definitely do it. It's so worth it. The money really is inconsequential when you get so much benefit from being a better parent to your children and feeling like you're connecting more with them and not feeling like you're yelling all the time or you're like, why isn't things working? I would say definitely do it. It's so worth it. It'll change you.
No matter what age someone's child is, it's a great opportunity for personal growth and it's a great investment in someone's family. I'm very thankful I had this.
You can continue in your old habits that aren't working, or you can learn some new tools and gain some perspective to shift everything in your parenting.
Are you frustrated by parenting? Do you listen to the experts and try all the tips and strategies, but you're just not seeing the results that you want? Or are you lost as to where to start? Does it all seem so overwhelming with too much to learn? Are you yearning for a community of people who get it, who also don't want to threaten and punish to create cooperation? Hi, I'm Hunter Clark-Fields, and if you answered yes to any of these questions, I want you to seriously consider the Mindful Parenting membership. You will be joining hundreds of members who have discovered the path of mindful parenting and now have confidence and clarity in their parenting. This isn't just another parenting class. This is an opportunity to really discover your unique, lasting relationship, not only with your children, but with yourself. It will translate into lasting, connected relationships, not only with your children, but your partner too. Let me change your life. Go to mindfulparentingcourse.com to add your name to the waitlist, so you will be the first to be notified when I open the membership for enrollment. I look forward to seeing you on the inside. mindfulparentingcourse.com.